Hey guys, I'm here today to talk about actively managed ETFs and specifically the new one that's just been launched by EasyETFs. So I'm joined today by David Oberholzer. Thanks so much for joining us, David.
Thanks, Carly. Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's been a little bit over a week since you launched this AM ETF, and I'm really excited to get into it. But before we even talk about the AM ETF, tell me a bit about Easy ETFs. Who's part of the team? What is this company about?
Yeah, so EasyETFs is the new kid on the block, so to say, in the Easy stable. We have integrated into the group. You've got myself, Nicola Kominos, as the managing director, fully fledged board, and great help coming from the operational team, Sihle Piru, and then obviously integrating into the various managers. Currently, we just have EasyAssetManagement, but yeah, building it out slowly but surely.
And what's your role specifically? What do you do?
So I'm the business manager. I used to have a joke when people ask me what I do, and I said admin. And now it actually has become true. So it's what I do. We as the Manco Easy ETF is responsible for the administration, running, and management of the various ETFs under us, and I oversee that process for Easy ETFs.
Okay, cool. Good to know. So actively managed ETFs, I mean, they're not brand spanking new. They've been around for a little bit. Certainly overseas, they've been around for a little bit. But in South Africa, it does sort of feel like a bit of new territory. So for those of us who are only sort of learning about AM ETFs now, can you talk a bit about what's so cool about AM ETFs and how are they different from exchange traded funds and unit trusts?
Yeah, so they've been around, let's call it 18 months, give or take, on the JSE, and they've had, in my opinion, exponential and phenomenal growth. We've seen the market explode just over the last couple of months to 20 plus active managed ETFs. And both investors and asset managers are taking a liking to them. Their difference is, well, sorry, I've strayed away from the question, but yeah, so they've had exponential growth, and how they differ, how they are similar is something that we can get into. So ETF, active managed ETF, same thing. Difference is one is a passive instrument that we've come to love and know, where active management ETF brings that benefit of active management to the ETF space. So you can leverage managers, strategies, and various philosophies. In that regard, they're much more similar to a unit trust.
Okay.
Historically, active management has been kept in the unit trust space. But now we've brought it out of the closet, we've brought it onto the JSE, and that's the big difference. So unit trust, traditionally, investors would access through the unit trust Manco, so where we similar to Easy ETFs, and you would invest into the UT structure. You would get daily pricing, and you would only be able to buy and sell once a day, traditionally. Okay. Where with the active ETF, same back-end legal structure, but the added flexibility of being listed. So clients can buy and sell whenever they want. The benefit there to the managers is it also improves the distribution opportunities because you now have access to anyone with a stockbroker account or an EasyEquities account can buy and sell the product.
Great. So it sounds like, I mean, a big advantage, what I'm hearing from you is that active management where, you know, you've got someone with the brains and the smarts that's looking at the market all the time and adjusting that portfolio based on different factors and market movements and risk strategies and kind of, you know, they've really got their finger on the pulse with that. Whereas a traditional ETF, you know, it tracks an index and that's pretty much set. So there's like a little bit more of an expert eye, I guess, on that portfolio. And like you said now, it trades on the exchange like an ETF. So you can buy and sell at will. So it's a little bit of the best of both worlds. I've got all three. I've got unit trusts, I've got ETFs, and I've got actively managed ETFs because I think there's a place for all of them. But just interesting to see strategically how that could fit into your portfolio based on your own personal strategy. Okay, so it sounds like a silly question, but why AI? I mean, we're all like slightly obsessed at the moment with AI, so that's a no-brainer. But is there any particular reason you decided to launch with an AI focused AM ETF first?
I think it's the way we're seeing the global economy and progression of the fourth industrial revolution going. Our manager, Sean Crom, EasyAssetManagement, has a phenomenal track record in some of the other unit trusts, and their skill set speaks nicely to this investment niche and theme. You're seeing global economies migrate into automation, artificial intelligence, and it's trying to get exposure or get investors the opportunity, give investors the opportunity to gain access to that niche and that investment strategy from a first mover advantage. We're still in the early stages of the fourth industrial revolution and AI adoption. So now is the opportunity to get in while it's new, while it's young. And it speaks to also, I think, the Easy brand. It's a tech company loving tech and trying to integrate that into the daily lives, which draws us to AI as well.
Great. So you've touched on EasyAssetManagement being, the fund manager and Sean Crom kind of heading up that operation. Can you tell me a little bit more about EasyAssetManager? What is their kind of methodology?
So their methodology is thematic investment and looking at themes, taking a bottom-up approach, and maybe define a theme is simplifying it to what do we see happening in the world. AI is a theme. I know some of the other themes that they speak to is weight and obesity, attention. It's anything that we can think of and that they have defined in their investment philosophy that gives them that edge. It speaks to that manager skill that you mentioned earlier. That's their skill sets, identifying themes and then companies that will work well within these themes to hopefully outperform over the long term.
Yeah, I remember some of their strategy with us a while ago. And what I really liked firstly was their approach to risk. I think they have a really great take on risk and taking an appropriate amount of risk to kind of get those return goals or objectives that they have. And I also quite liked that they really had a good combination of human expertise with technology. I know there's like a massive data component to how they select their companies. And I thought that was really interesting, because you don't want just a machine doing everything. You do still want that human element, that je ne sais quoi, that humans bring to the table. And I just thought it was really cool and interesting that they use a combination of both. So that's interesting to me.
I love that you
David,
mentioned it like
yeah?
that. Sorry, Carly. I love that you mentioned it like
No.
that because I think it also speaks to your question as to why AI first. It's the manager's ability, as you said, to leverage technology that makes them familiar with the strategy that they're trying to manage. And that's great. And that draws me to them as well as a manager.
Sean has written quite a few pieces on his views on AI, and those can all be found at blogs.easyequities.co.za. I think that's a great way to also kind of get into to understand the thinking behind this decision. Some really, really great like analysis on some of the companies out there in the AI space. And it's not just, AI specific companies, it's AI adoption. So it's a lot of different people and companies involved in that whole world, not just specifically AI driven companies. So that's great. David, any closing thoughts? Anything that you want to share with us before we round up?
No, I think maybe guide client or people, investors listening to the webcast to, if they want to find out more about the portfolios we have and what's actually inside, what's the nitty gritty and the gist, they can visit the ETF or EasyETFs website. We've got portfolio composition files on there. Clients can look at what is happening in the portfolio. So that's pretty cool. It's that transparency that we're bringing in the active space that I haven't mentioned and that I would like to mention in this last thought process.
Yeah,
Um,
amazing. And there's also great stuff there, guys, like a bit more about Easy ETFs, who's involved there, the actual Easy ETFs products that are around. And like David said, you could drill down into the constituents of this actively managed ETF. I'll make sure I drop that link when we post this video on YouTube. David, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And I'm sure there's lots for us to still look forward to from Easy ETFs, and we'll be watching the space.
Excited for it, and thanks for having me, Carly. Looking to many more.
Cool. Cheers.
Cheers.